Okay, so uh, in the last class we saw several things. I think we all know where what we did last class. I don't want to waste time discussing this again, but yeah. So we saw linear models, and one of the things that we had done was linear regression for classification, right? So let me remind you what that was. So what you do here is that you use W transpose X as your hypothesis, and then you try to minimize this. Okay, so you try to minimize the squared error loss, and your yi's will be either 0, 1, or could be even minus 1, 1, or so on. Okay, so now there is a problem with this. Okay, so this kind of an approach has an issue. So linear models are not too terrific for learning binary class, right? Because W transpose X is a line. Okay, so using a line, if you want to approximate 0 or 1, that seems like a poor choice, right? So in particular, if you want to look at one example where that is extremely evident, so we can look at the example of like tumor classification based on the tumor size. This we have I discussed this before, but I would like to again recap all of your. It was before midterm, so I think it's good to recollect. So let's say the feature is X, okay, and the X is tumor size. Then Y is 0, 1. Okay, so 0 stands for benign, okay, and 1 stands for malignant. So now, if you want to plot, so now in the past, so this is something that people get confused with, even though it's a very, very simple thing that I'm telling. Okay. So see, in the past, whenever we have talked about perceptron and things like that, the entire feature space, okay, the entire feature space is here, x1 and x2. Okay. And then you have a bunch of points like this. And then you have a bunch of points like this. The hyperplane is required to separate them in this manner. Okay, this is what you are seeing here is the completely the feature space. Now, what I am doing is I am trying to plot. Okay, on the x-axis I will plot tumor size, and on the y-axis I am plotting the target. Okay, so I am also plotting the target. So what that means is that some tumors which are benign, okay, will typically have low size, and they will be here, and some of them which are malignant, they will be here. Okay, so why is this over here? Because this is the target 1. Okay, this is the target 0. So sometimes you will have a particular size tumor, though it is in the range where typically benign tumors are. I will plot it here to indicate that it's actually been identified as malignant. Okay, so when you do like this, you will have some kind of a map like this. Okay, so this seems in this example at least. Okay, it seems like if I use a linear classifier, things are all right. Things look all right, right? Because if I try to draw this, okay, so this is some all these points are roughly close to 1. Okay, for this particular point, the predicted output is here, but it is almost close to 1. This is also almost close to 1. So since we are minimizing the hypothesis minus what is required, so this is essentially what we are minimizing, right? So this whole black bars, the square errors of all of this we are minimizing. So in this case, this looks okay, but there is a slight problem. What happens is if there is a like an extremely large tumor, okay, so this can put our learning algorithm into some kind of a trouble. So how does that happen? So let's draw this once again. So let me just draw it once again just to make it. right? So this is what our usual points are. Now, in addition to this, let's suppose that there are a few points which are like quite extreme. Some points are like this. Now, since the objective is to minimize the square error, what happens is the line that you will learn if you use this model, right? Linear regression for classification, like trying to use regression for classification. If you do that, what will end up happening is you will have a learned model, which is going to be like this. Okay, I should draw it a little more nicely. Something like this. Okay, the reason being the objective is trying to minimize the target minus this, right? So the thing that you're actually trying to minimize is these distances. Okay, so because there are a few extreme points, it might be better that the line is actually done this way. Okay, so now you may ask, what is the problem? The problem is these 3 points, right? So all of these, so this is, let's say, point number 1, x1, x2, x3, x4, x5, x6, and x7. All of them will be treated as 0. The output will be treated as 0. Why? Because the threshold typically, so since whenever you are using LMS, like your regression for classification, the threshold is 0.5. Okay, anything which is less than 0.5 will be treated as 0. So this is somewhere 0.5. Okay, so all these points here will be treated as 0. All the points here will be treated as 1. Okay, and since you are trying to minimize the error which is coming in this bars, okay, these points will tend to shift the line further. Okay, so is this clear? Last time when I explained this, people were not following, so I thought I should go over this again. Yes, can I quickly check if everyone follows?
So what threshold are you talking about in the linear?
Okay. So this least what is that? Mean square error, right? So what I meant is when you use what is that? This is called as square loss, right? Least mean square loss. Least mean squared loss, right? This is the squared loss. Okay, the least mean square means the amongst all W, I will choose that W which minimizes this, right? So this is called as LMS, right? I might not have used the term LMS before, but now you know. And now we also learned that when you use if you remember this, we had studied this, right? So if you use this one, so whenever you look at some fx minus y whole squared, if I try to do this, if I try to find minimum over all f, so what do we get? We get f of x star is actually expected value of y given x. Okay, this you remember. So here in the case of classification, it will be q1 of x, right?
Yes, I got it.
So now if you have to do it properly, what you will do is you will say report 1 when q1 of x is greater than q0 of x, or in other words, q1 of x is greater than half, right? So that's the threshold I'm talking about. So can I quickly check if all this discussion is clear? Yes. Shivam? Shivam Jaiswal, did you have any questions? Okay. So I'm not seeing all of you saying something. Is something still an issue? Manupati, Shashwat, Lakshmi? Okay, so can you do a quick recap again? Jitendra is asking. So Jitendra, what I am telling is we have to do classification. Sometimes we use linear regression, right? So we will try to approximate 0, 1 by W transpose X. Okay, this we have seen. I hope you remember this, right? And then what we saw is if you use this, I would like to show that there is some kind of an issue that is happening when the data is little bit skewed. So for that, I gave an example like this. Okay, so on the x-axis, I am plotting the tumor sizes. On the y-axis, I am plotting if it is a benign or a malignant thing. So all benign tumors are indicated in blue, and they are going to lie along x-axis because the target for that is 0. Okay, all malignant tumors are indicated in red. Okay, and they are going to lie in the line corresponding to y equal to 1. So they will lie in this line. Okay, so this is your training samples. Now, what does a linear regression do? It tries to fit a line which best approximates the set of the points that you are seeing here. Okay, when you try to do that, because there are a few points which are lying on the extreme spectrum of x, and you are trying to minimize this error bars that I'm showing with my cursor, what happens is, in order to minimize that error, this would be the best line that you can think of. And when that happens, the threshold is 0.5. So all these points which are where the hypothesis is W transpose X is less than 0.5, all these points will be treated as 0. Okay, whereas they shouldn't be, because there is a clear separation, right? The clear separation would have been to have all these points marked as 0 and all these points to be marked as 1. Okay, but if you use a model like this is the problem that it is giving. And the reason why this is happening is because you are having a squared error loss. Okay, and W transpose X is a poor choice for learning 0, 1. Okay, so Jitendra, does that follow? Yeah, okay, good. So, okay, so it's fine. So that is why we realize that this may not be the best choice. So instead of that, we will use what is called as a logistic regression. So that is the next topic. And you might have already seen some of these things. I'm told that you saw some logistic regression in optimization, but we will quickly do a recap. Okay, we will try to do it once more so that you all understand. So basically what you are trying to do, we understand that W transpose X is not good for 0, 1 type thing, right? So we realize that we cannot use W transpose X for 0, 0, 1. So what idea is, why don't we use some W transpose X, okay, which will be good for like instead of going 0, 1, let us try to do a smooth transition, right? So let's have instead of having this way, so let us have a function which is always going to be less than this, and let's try to find a nice like a function which smoothly goes between 0 and 1, and that function is called as logistic function. Okay, so that is something like this. So it is so that function which we are going to choose is h of a, which is called logistic function, which is okay. So instead of trying to learn a linear function, let us try to use this logistic function and see how it looks. So what happens? This function is always between 0 and 1. So if you plot this and do it properly, so you will see that, so this is minus 2, 0. Let's say some choice like this. So if you take an extreme value, let us take 8. Okay, so e power minus 8 is a number which is very, very close to 0. So the value here will be close to 1. So like that, for 6 also it will be close to 1. For 4 also it will be close to 1. For 2 also it will be close to 1. At 0, so e power this will be half. So it will cut 0 at 0.5. So this is my logistic function. Okay, so this is h of a. On this axis you have a. So likewise, on the other side, everything symmetrically follows. So the function that will be looking at is this. So instead of using linear, let us try to look at this. Okay, so this is a good way to do this kind of problems. So instead of trying to learn linear, we will use this kind of logistic function. So there will be 2 variants of logistic regression, and we will see both the variants. So first variant is called as the LMS variant. Okay, and other one is called as cross entropy loss. So I will explain both. So I hope everything until this point is clear. So let us now look at both the loss functions corresponding to each of these things. Okay. So this will be LMS will be treating it as loss J of W, which is the same thing as before, I equal to 1 to N. Okay, so here instead of using W transpose Xi, we will use H of W transpose X minus Yi. Okay, so this is one variant. Now, how do you, if I use this as my training model, I will just pick some people because people are very quiet. I will ask someone to answer this. So Jitendra, can you tell me if I use this as my learning model, how will I use to train W? How can I get values of W? If I use this loss function, how can I get W? Jitendra, you can type in the chat if you are uncomfortable to speak aloud. If you don't know, you can say you don't know. Okay, so did you understand the question? Okay, so he understood the question. So let me ask someone else. I will pick people who don't. So Manan, can you tell me the answer?
Sir, can you repeat the question? We need to find W from the loss.
Okay, yeah. So basically, you are given Xi, Yi, right? This is your regression problem. Typically, you are given Xi, Yi. It's a classification problem. Yi is lying between 0. Some are 0, some are 1. 0 is benign, 1 is malignant. Okay, instead of using linear hypothesis, which is W transpose Xi, if I use H of W transpose Xi, where H is the logistic function which is given by this expression, my question to you is, how will you use to learn W? Because once you learn W, you are done, right?
Sir, we start with the random value of W, then we need to minimize the loss.
So how will you minimize the loss? So you say first is random W. Okay, what is then next step? So Manan, have you taken optimization?
Yes, sir.
So how do you minimize a function?
Okay, so we differentiate the function.
Yeah, so you can do that way. You can differentiate the function, but unfortunately, this e power thing doesn't have a closed form. Okay, so you cannot get a single shot answer like the way you got in regression. So what will you use instead?
Sir, I'm not sure.
Okay, so let me ask someone else. Okay, thanks for participating. Okay, let me pick people who used to speak and who have become quiet now. Rohit Rajora, can you tell me what to do now?
Yes, sir, I'm not sure.
So do you understand the question?
Yes, sir.
So did you understand this problem? What is happening if you use linear model for classification? Rohit?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so all right, so let me ask someone else. Okay. Manupati, I don't know what I should call. Vipul, do you call yourself Vipul? Yes. Vipul, okay, Vipul, do you know how to answer this? See, I want all of you to participate. Okay, it's becoming very, very difficult. I'm not able to understand whether people are following. Okay, so Vipul, tell me, do you know how to solve this? Vipul, say yes or no. Okay, so all right. So let me pick someone who has never spoken as far as I remember. Aditi, do you know what we should do next?
Sir, I guess we can take the log.
Okay, so what is the idea of taking the log?
Sir, because there's an exponent there.
Okay. So basically, see, you are given a cost function like this. If I have to minimize, I have to use one of the standard optimization technique. use gradient descent or use Newton's method, right? So take the gradient. So Wt plus 1 is equal to Wt. Okay, so since I want to minimize, minus eta times gradient of J. Is that okay? Vipul, do you understand this now? How about Aditi?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is simple, right? I mean, this is like the first thing that we will learn in optimization, and we have done this already in LMS also when we did regression, right? So there are two approaches to solve regression problem. One is you do A transpose A inverse, A transpose Y, right? This is your W. This is one way. This is the normal equation, right? This kind of a thing does not exist for LMS. So that's why you are using gradient descent. So this gradient you can take and you will get something. Okay, so this is one. Okay, now I will show you another method, and then I will ask you which of the two methods you will use. Okay, so another method is okay. So I see that you would have got really big trouble in the midterm because anyway, so in cross entropy, what I will do is I will treat H of W transpose Xi as the probability. Okay, so in the cross entropy method, idea is, so P of Y given X, okay, you treat it as assume that this is given by H of W transpose Xi. Okay, so this is what you will assume, and then what is the likelihood? So can someone tell me what is the likelihood for if this is true? Let me ask somebody. Okay, so Tushar, if I'm telling you this is the probability is this, so how will I get likelihood given the training sample Xi yi?
It's a product of
I equal to 1 to n. Yeah. Yes.
Probability of y given xi.
Probability of y equal to 1 given xi, that is 1. Okay, this will come only if the yi is there, right? Do you remember this, Tushar? Is this making sense?
Yes, sir.
So 1 minus yi. Okay, so thank you, Tushar. Okay, so this is what is the likelihood. So likelihood of W, okay, given so likelihood of, it's a function of W, so LW. See, I may not use consistent notations, okay, but the idea is what is more important. So is this idea clear what we are doing? I don't know how it will be used. I will tell you how it will be done, okay. So Anmol is asking, sir, in last semester we learned backpropagation algorithm. Will it be useful here? Oh, you learned backpropagation in the last semester itself, Anmol? Interesting. Okay, so yes, but we will do something even more simpler for this. Okay, so backpropagation is it will work for multiple layer feed forward neural network. Okay, so this is like a single layer that we are having. So it will work, but I will not go to that until we go to neural networks, which is sometime next few classes later we will do that. Okay, so good. So all right. So at least the likelihood expression, does everybody understand? Yes. Can I have a quick poll? Okay, all right. So this is that's good. Okay, so now this is the likelihood. So if you want to transform this, so let us we don't like these kind of expressions so much. In likelihood, we take the log. So what we will do is we will take the log here first, L of W, which is summation I equal to 1 to n. Okay, yi. So this is nothing but H of W transpose Xi. Okay, and this is nothing but 1 minus. Sorry. I should be little bit calmly writing all this. Log of, I have taken the log, right? So I should take the thing properly. Xi. Okay. then plus 1 minus yi times log of 1 minus h of w transpose xi. Okay. So this is it. So this is what is the likelihood? Log likelihood. Okay. So this is just simple. I have taken just log. So if you want to maximize the likelihood, okay. If you maximize the likelihood, you are done. Okay. But we like costs because all our things we have been dealing with cost. So instead of trying to maximize the likelihood, what we will consider is we will consider J of W, which is equal to negative L of W. So if you try to maximize this, it's as though you are minimizing the cost because there is a negative sign. Okay. So this is minus summation I equal to 1 to N yi log H of W transpose X minus plus 1 minus yi log of 1 minus H of W transpose X. Okay, so now this is my new loss function. So let me ask again. So Jitendra, how do we solve this? You can type in chat. Jitendra, are you there? So what I'm saying is this is the likelihood, right? So likelihood is like you want to maximize likelihood estimate you have seen MLE, right? You want to maximize the likelihood to get the estimate for your parameters. So here the likelihood is this. If you maximize this, that for various parameter W, depending upon some W will be better, some W will not be so good. If you maximize this, that is a decent idea, right? So that is what we are planning to do. But what I'm saying is instead of maximizing L of W, if I consider my cost to be negative L of W, okay, so then if I maximize L of W, it is as though I am minimizing J of W, which is negative log likelihood. All right. Jitendra, did you understand the question now? So how do we solve this? How can we do, if this is the negative log likelihood is the cost, how do I minimize this? What do we use? Which algorithm do you use to minimize?
Sir, again, we can use steepest descent.
Yes, yes, we will use steepest descent. That's all. Okay. Okay, so now my question to everybody is how do you know which of the two is better? So one is, of course, you can do programming and you can find out, but otherwise, how do you know? Does anyone know the answer to this? How do we know which of the two we should use?
Sir, we should know that which of the functions is convex, then we'll be able to
Very
get
good.
to the globe.
Okay, so this is convex, this is not. Okay, so you can try it out. Okay, so when I say try it out, you should try it out because then I will ask in final exam or something. Okay, then, so please try it out. I'm serious when I'm saying try it out. Okay, so this is very simple exercise. Convex thing have the property that second derivative is negative. Okay, so you just take the second derivative and see. Okay, I hope everybody knows. Is there anybody who is not doing optimization in the group? Okay, Jitendra is not doing. Okay, so Jitendra, let me just briefly tell for your benefit. So what you have is when you are trying to optimize a function, right? So you will have shapes like this. So this is f of x. Okay, and when you use gradient descent, okay, like if you want to try to find a minimum and if your starting point is here, you will take all these steps, okay, and then you may end up here, and this is called as a local minimum. This is not the best minimum for this function. Why? Because this is better. Okay, this is called as a global minimum. Okay, so now typically if your function is non-convex, there is an issue of local minimum versus global minimum. Okay, but convex functions have this property. Convex functions look like this. Okay, the technical definition for convex functions is f of x. It satisfies this property, f of x, lambda f of x plus 1 minus lambda f of y. Okay, so that is basically if you take 2 points x and y. Okay, so this kind of a thing is like a line joining the 2 points. Okay, the function always lies under this. So this is bigger than or equal to f of lambda x plus 1 minus lambda y. Okay, the property that this is a convex function, and convex function has only unique minima. Okay, and convex functions has the additional property that this second derivative, okay, the second derivative d square f by dx square, okay, this is going to be greater than 0. So why is that? What is the meaning? Okay, so I'm explaining again. So how second derivative is greater than 0. Okay, so what is the meaning of this? So what is second derivative? Can someone tell me what is second derivative?
Sir,
So-
it's rate of change of derivative.
Exactly. So the second derivative is rate of change of derivative. So let me write that, rate of change of derivative. Okay. So this means that in convex functions, the derivatives themselves keep improving. Okay. So let us see whether that happens. So let us look at some derivatives. So you take this point. So, okay. So this is some derivative. Then let us look at this point. There is some derivative. Then look at this point. This derivative is 0. Then it is increasing. Okay, then it is increasing even more sharply. See, it is some negative value. From the negative value, it is becoming close to 0. That means it is increased. Then it has become 0. Then the slope is increasing even more, and then the slope is increasing even more. So slopes, the change of slopes, the slopes are increasing all the time. Okay, so that is why the second derivative of a convex function is greater than 0. Is that all right? Anmol? Sir, what if the both functions are convex for the some region and concave for the, yeah, so convex should be convex everywhere. Okay, there is no question of convex in some region and concave in some other region. Okay, so Anmol, that will not happen, whatever you're asking. So to summarize, what we briefly described is what is called as logistic regression. There are two variants of logistic regression, the LMS version and the cross entropy loss version. Okay, and the cross entropy loss function is better because you have convexity there. You can try it at home. You can see that this is convex, this is not convex. Okay, yeah. So does everybody follow this discussion? Is everything clear so far? Can I quickly check? Okay, very good. Okay, so now, yeah, let's now talk about one slightly. We will come to regularization little bit, and then we will do something else. Okay, so that is what we will do next. So this is one, yeah. Okay, so let's start. So the next thing that I would like to talk about is this. So this was one of the questions that I asked in your midterm. Okay, so I want to just address this because it's an interesting question. So consider this model of regression. Okay, so probabilistic models for regression. See, we have seen that regression, various ways we have seen how probability comes in. Okay, but now let us explicitly try to see if we use a probabilistic model, what do we get? Okay, so that is the next topic. So now what I will assume is that there is some x. Okay, so let's say the x is your house size of your house, size in square meters. Let's say y is the price. Okay, price in rupees. Okay, something like this. Now let us say there is actually a linear model. Okay, so let's draw this. There is a linear model. So some W transpose X is there. Okay, there is some W transpose X where X is obviously, this is in the augmented space because you are not passing through the origin. There is some W transpose X. Okay, I'm not drawing. Yeah, so this should be clear to everybody. So there is X and then there is an intercept. If you want, I will write it as W transpose X plus W naught. W1 transpose X plus W naught, or W1 X plus W naught, since there is only one feature. All the three are same. Okay, So now what I'm saying is there is an X, there is a Y, okay, and your Y is W transpose X plus some noise, okay, and there is a Gaussian noise that will happen. So what that means is your Y has this kind of a Gaussian distortion. Okay, so it's a normal thing with some variance sigma square. So what that means is your Y is W transpose X plus epsilon, where epsilon is your normal distribution, okay, with mean 0 and variance sigma squared. Okay, so is this clear? So what model we are considering is you have a linear underlying model, and on top of the linear model there is some distortion. Okay, so now we are not trying. What we are trying to do, there is some parameter that we don't know, which is W, and we want to find out the MLE estimate for W. Okay, so that is what is the question. Is it clear? So your data is xi yi, I equal to 1 to n. So is the setup clear? Does everybody follow the setup? So do you understand that this is the question that I asked you in the exam also? Yeah. So this is technically we have done this already because I have discussed mean MLE all the time. So you already know how to do this. So let's use some of our earlier knowledge to see how do we do it. So we have to do likelihood of W in terms of W. That is nothing but product I equal to 1 to n. Okay, so capital N. And this is f of yi given xi, w and sigma. I'm assuming I know this, okay, but w is what I'm trying to optimize over. So w, I want to find out w. So if you want, we can also make it like a double. You can also take a likelihood with respect to sigma also and try to find which sigma best explains it. Perhaps it's better to even take that because you may want to learn sigma also. All we are saying is it's a normal distribution with some fixed sigma, but we don't know what is that sigma. So let's take both of them. Okay. So now what is the maximum likelihood estimate? So MLE is what you would like to do is argmax W sigma for. Okay. So when you do this, you will get two parameters. So if you do this, you will get two parameters. One is WMLE and sigma squared MLE. Okay. All right. So we know the standard procedure for doing MLE. So let us just get started. So we take the log and then we take the individual thing and we do it, right? So let's do that. So let me use a different color. It's been blue for long. Sorry, red for long. So let's take log. So L of W sigma is summation I equal to 1 to n. Okay, and we know what is this, right? So let me write this. This is equal to 1 over 2 pi square root 2 pi sigma e power. Okay, so if you see, it is W transpose plus epsilon. Okay, so if you have a random variable x whose mean is let me take small diversion because you may not remember this. So you have a random variable x whose mean is mu. So let's say y is equal to x plus 3. Okay, so what is the expected value of y? Yes, what is the expected value of y?
Mu plus 3.
Mu plus
Mu plus 3. Yeah, so that is what. So now here you have normal 0. So together when I take expected value of y, okay, so I mean then the mean will be W transpose x will be the center. Okay, so we don't know what is that W transpose x, but that is what MLE comes into play, right? That's what we do in MLE. So what is this? So yi minus W transpose xi whole square. So this is your standard normal distribution. As per given by the model, this is what it is. Okay, so now we are taking log.
By sigma square.
Sorry?
By sigma square inside the exponent.
Yeah. Thank you. 2 pi equal to sigma squared. Okay, so this is what it is. So now we are now taking log. So that means all of these things will get split. So you will have 1 over sigma square root 2 pi. Okay, then this thing log will be summation will continue to be there. Okay, so that is 1 over 2 sigma squared summation. This I am assuming I have taken it out of all the training samples. Okay, this will be yi minus wi transpose xi whole square. Right? I think I have done everything correctly. Okay, so now
summation.
Sorry.
It's a log of 1 upon sigma root 2 pi.
Log of where log comes? Oh yeah, here. Sorry. Yeah. Thank you.
Sir, I have a doubt. Can I ask you?
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Sir, how can we say that this f of yi given xi comma that all that is, I mean, it's basically normal because y is w transpose x plus something normal. So I didn't get that.
Okay, so tell me, for a given value of x and given value of w, is this a constant or a random variable?
Yes, sir, it's a constant.
So look at this, right? So xi is given, w is given. Okay.
Yes, sir, got it.
Yeah, I know. Some of these things a little bit you have to think sometimes, but it is easy. Okay, don't get very intimidated by these things. Okay, so I think it was a bad idea to ask this for midterm. Okay, fine. It's okay. I mean, if you found it difficult, everybody would have found difficult. Don't get discouraged by if you're not able to do well in the midterm. See, it's a relative grading. Okay, so if you want, I will take the topper's mark and make it the full marks. Then everybody gets good marks. That's not the point. Okay, I hope I have not put you off in machine learning by giving you a difficult midterm. All right, so this is here so far. So now, what do we do in MLE? We take we try to find which W maximizes it, and in order to do that, we have to maximize this, right? So to get W, to get MLE estimates, okay, we need to maximize over the parameter space W and sigma. Fine. So now, if you think about this, right? So if you really think, suppose sigma is we are not considering initially. Let's say we don't consider sigma. If you just maximize W, all these things are not going to be mattering. We are actually maximizing this, maximizing negative this. Okay. Or in other words, we are minimizing this function. And what is this function? You have seen this already. What is this function? Let me.
Mean squared loss.
Yes, it's a mean squared loss. Okay, so let me just write once again. So let me write this as a remark, very important remark. Okay, so what I'm saying is disregarding, for example, disregarding sigma. Okay, which means like you can treat it as a known quantity, known value. Okay, so MLE maximizing the likelihood estimator, MLE estimator corresponds to your usual LMS, least mean square regression. Okay, isn't that? I mean, it's a nice way in which things are coming together. So the probabilistic model is also asking you to do a least mean square regression. Okay, so this is the insight that I wanted to tell, but there is an additional thing what you also get. So one is your usual least mean square that you can use your standard. How do you solve it? Again, there are two ways. You can use the normal equations, which is W is equal to A transpose A inverse A transpose Y. So that is method one, or second method is gradient descent. These things you can do. Okay, but there is an additional sigma square which will give you some insight. Okay, and the sigma square is given by 1 over n. Okay, the usual variance. So this is WMLE. Okay, so now what is the significance of this? Can someone make a guess? What is the significance of learning this sigma square? Yeah, can someone tell me? Devyani, would you like to make a guess?
So I didn't understand the question.
So the question is, see, we have gone to an alternate model, which is probabilistic model for regression, where we all these steps I hope you have understood.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right.
So what we understood is that trying to find the mean means MLE estimate for W is same as taking LMS regression. You will get the two usual thing, but there is an additional parameter sigma square, which we can get by taking the derivative of this with respect to sigma. And if you do this arithmetic well, you will get this. Okay, now I am asking, what is the benefit of learning this?
So we'll know the Gaussian error.
Yeah, but what is the use of that?
Sir, if the error is a little too much, then maybe our model was, W transpose X wasn't good enough.
Yes, that is what it shows. Okay, so these are things that will come. There is a subject called as econometrics. So there are some things which you causal inference and things like that. This will give you an error bar. Okay, so what I mean is you have your X here. Okay, it will give you some kind of a bar between which you can say most of the time your line will be lying within this. Okay, this sigma square will give you some kind of, see, your xi's and yi's, right? Their xi and yi's are both random, right? So when you use something random, okay, when you use something random to learn a classifier, your W is also random. Okay. And if something is random, how can you use that as a God-given thing, right? You really have to know how much is the variance, and this is what it will show you. The sigma square, if you take if you want 95% confidence around this, you can take 2 sigma width and you can plot it. So this will give you a confidence bar around your estimate. Okay, so if this, so you can do it. There are standard things. So the points where there are many things close by, the sigma will be very low because it cannot vary too far from there. And when there is sparse regions, it will be a little more. Okay, it's just generalization of this theory a little more. You can actually get per point, you can get an estimate depending upon how. But this model is giving you how you can get probability in this regression model. So that is a new thing that you get by doing this kind of an analysis. So essentially
So, but the error need not be dependent on W, right? It could just be an issue with your measurement. So like you could be measuring yi with a certain error. So that does not depend on how we constructed our model W.
Yes. But you will get some kind of an estimate as to whether you can totally rely on it or not. So let me tell you one example since you bring this up. Okay, so there is one. This is when you do randomized control trial, right? You actually use this. So what you do is you will look at y. So y is called as your outcome variable. Okay, so you will do this. So you will look at y is the outcome variable. You will put W transpose X. So X will be all your features of the patients, for example. Okay. Then you will have a treatment dummy variable. This is called as a treatment dummy variable D. Okay, and then you will have some, I don't know, maybe some eta times D. Okay, this is your treatment dummy. Okay, so what is this? So this will be 0 or 1 depending upon whether that particular patient has been administered the drug or not. Okay, then what you will have is you have several Y's. So you will have a data set of all the X's. You will have D, whether the patient has been administered something. Then Y, let us say Y is your, I don't know, blood pressure or something which you want to control. Okay, so which is what the pharmaceutical is trying to address. So what you do is you regress. They call it regress. Instead of saying linear regression, they will say regress this model. Okay, you regress on this, which is same linear regression itself. What you will get is eta will now be either positive or negative. So let us say eta is equal to 3.5. Okay, so let us say we want to increase y. Okay, so now eta is turned out to be 3.5. So what do you think? Can we say this drug is useful, or what can we say? Devyani, can we say that this drug is useful?
So I'm a little lost.
No. What are we trying to do here? With what do you mean by we want to control y?
So let us say Y is the blood pressure. So I'm just making up stories here. Okay, just don't treat it literally. Okay, I'm just giving you an example. So let us say there are a bunch of patients who have low blood pressure. Okay, so Y is the blood pressure. You would like to increase the blood pressure. Okay, so these are all the features of the patient. So features of the patients matter for blood pressure. Do all of you agree? Like a young baby versus an old man, there will be some things that is there inherent to the anatomy that will actually play a role. Okay, so that is why we have these features. Okay, these are called as control variables. Okay, so if you ever read these things, you will read this in your, if you read that COVID paper, you will see there are some control variables. These are the control variables. Is this clear so far?
Yes, sir.
And then you have D, which is called as a treatment dummy. It's either 0 or 1. Okay, and then there is a parameter eta associated with the treatment dummy. So far, everything is okay, right?
Sir, what is treatment dummy?
So treatment dummies, some patients are given the drug, some patients are given a placebo effect. I mean, they are given a medicine which is not really the drug. Okay. See, for even this vaccine trial also, they will take people for treatment, right? You can never say that they are actually given the vaccine when they are doing the trial. Some people are given just saline. Saline is salt water or something like that. Okay, so these people will be 0, and then the people who have been given 1, they will be vaccine. Is that okay? Do you understand what the treatment dummy represents? Yes.
Yes, sir.
So now if I do a linear regression model on this, okay, so there will be some kind of an effect that is coming due to the treatment. So if the number is positive, my question is, can we say that the drug is useful because it is increasing the blood pressure, which is what we wanted? What do you think?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so intuitively that is correct. Okay, because this 3.5 is a number bigger than 0. So fine, so this must be a good model. But the problem is there is an epsilon associated with it. Okay, that epsilon is this model. Okay, there is some kind of a distortion that is happening. Okay, so what you do is you also look at this one, eta, and then you will look at confidence interval of eta. So that is so 0.5 eta 0.95. Okay, you will look at this confidence interval. So how do you build confidence interval from your sigma? So you know this, right? In normal distribution, you have this normal distribution. There is a mean here, okay, which is mu. Okay, mu plus sigma and mu minus sigma. This is 68% confidence. Okay, so mu plus 2 sigma, mu minus 2 sigma. Okay, this is 95%. Do you know this? Yes?
Yes, sir, you had mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, so mu minus 3 sigma and mu plus 3 sigma. So now, based on your sigma, you can estimate these numbers. Okay, so there can be 2 cases. One case is your this interval, okay, is minus 0.01 to 4.5. This could be one interval. Say case interval number 2, it could be 3.2 to 3.8. Okay, so now which of the 2 cases is good for your clinical trial? Which is better? Should you have 1 or should you have 2? 2 is better, right? Because if you have 0, that means there is no, if there is a 0 in this interval, that means for all you know, whatever you have got is a random phenomena. Just because of some random thing, you have got 0, which means there is no effect of this treatment dummy. Okay. So having non-zero is what is important, and this is called a statistical significance. See, these things, I will not test you on these things, but I'm just trying to give you an idea why probabilistic model is useful to know. Okay, you can pick this up, you pick any textbook and you will get it, but I'm just trying to tell you how it will be used. Okay, is that clear? Can I quickly check if everybody follows this discussion? Yes?
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yeah, yes, Siddharth. Yeah.
Could you repeat what eta 0.5 and eta 0.95 meant?
So it is not eta 0.5, I meant eta 0.05. Okay. So this is basically that point which corresponds to 0.05 and 0. So it is not even 0.05. So it is 0.025 and 75. So together it should be a 95% interval. Do you understand what I'm saying, Siddharth? See,
Yes, sir. So this distribution is that of eta in this case.
yeah, it is this eta is basically here. No, it will correspond to mu minus 2 sigma and mu plus 2 sigma. Okay.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So does everybody follow this discussion? Can I quickly check if everyone understands this? Okay, so looks like everything is fine. So tomorrow we will look at another probabilistic model, though that is strictly not important for machine learning as such, but it's good to know. Okay, but the good thing is probabilistic model is also giving you things that is given by regression. Okay, so that is a good thing. So we will stop here. Okay, and I will stay back if you have any questions. So see you all tomorrow. Bye.